Hey crafters, Leo with Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our Harvest Greetings card. Now this one is kind of in the style of one of the cards we released for Christmas in July, and we are featuring a cool little painting of a little barn that's going to be the focal point of the card. Now we're just going to hop right into this and begin piecing together some of the little elements here. Okay, I'm going to start off with the little apple, and there are 3 layers to the apple. We have a green, a brown, and a red. The green is going to get glued to the top of the brown, and then we're going to put the red on top of that. Very simple little card. It's going to go together real quick. I'd say probably about 20 minutes or so with the assembly. Cutting it, I think took me maybe, 20 minutes or so. So super quick card, and we'll probably end up creating some bonus print and cut paintings for this so you can change up the scene. Okay, so there's our little apple. Hold on to that. Now I did go through and ink the various sections here, whatever I thought could be inked. Now make sure that when you put the orange part of the pumpkin onto the green, that it's not upside down. If you put it on wrong, you'll see that a little bit of that green kind of shows through at the top and bottom. That is a good indicator that you need to flip it upside down. Okay, so let's get the pumpkin onto the shadow layer so that that green stem shows through. And then we'll take the overlay that goes on top, and it's a little bit skinnier up at the top. Just match it up with the little rib in the center. And there is the pumpkin. And let's put together our little zucchini. We'll take this mint green layer, and there are 3 little overlays that go on top of that. The biggest one we'll start with, and that's going to go right in the center. There we go. And then we have a little skinny piece that's going to go over here on the left-hand side. And then we have a little piece that's going to go on the right, so that we have like a little striping happening on the zucchini, or on the squash. I guess it's more of a squash than a zucchini. Okay, just pop that right into place. There's no markers on this because it's so small. I don't think they'd really be that helpful anyway. So we just omitted them. Just do your best to get that lined up as accurately as you can. These 2 little pieces just go flush with the edge. I don't know if I got enough glue on there. That looks good. Okay, so then what we'll do is we're going to take and we're going to glue the zucchini down first onto this brown piece. And you can see where it goes. We just want the stem to be showing up at the top. So go ahead and apply glue to the back and pop that onto this shadow layer so that little stem is just sticking out, just barely, up at the top. Okay. Next, we're going to take and put the pumpkin in place. Now, if you want, you can actually use some foam squares on this, but I think there's going to be so much dimension on this project that we probably don't need it. Okay. And then we'll take the apple, and the apple is going to go on top of the 2, like so. Just match that up with the shadow layer. And it's going to be kind of sitting on top of 2 other layers. Just push it down, it'll grab. Okay, so I kind of made a boo-boo. We're going to take this brown piece, and we're going to first glue down the yellow. Okay, and part of this is actually hanging off, so you don't need to put glue on the entire thing. Just match up the pumpkin stem. You'll see a little bit of the brown and then a little bit of the yellow leaf coming off there. And then this is going to go on here like this, like a little puzzle. And there's an oak leaf up there that we really don't need to put any glue on. Just need to put glue on these sections here, so that should fit like a little puzzle, like this. And then we're going to take and glue this red layer down. I'm just going to put glue on the main part of it. I'm not putting glue on the little berries. I don't think it needs that. They're going to be kind of hanging off there. And that's going to go on like that. And then, when we're done, I can take this entire piece and glue that onto this section. Just like that. And there we go. Have a little harvest bunch there. And that's going to go on the bottom right-hand corner of our card. So that one's all set. Now, let's take a look at the elements that are going to go on the top left of the card. Now we have a little bow, and what I would suggest doing is taking a dowel, placing it at the base of one of the loops, lifting this up about 90 degrees and running the dowel through to start kind of giving it a round sort of appearance. Now, ultimately, this actually is going to be mostly flattened, okay? What I want you to do is take and apply glue to this little rectangular tab and then glue that to the center. There's also another rectangle there in the center. And if you flatten this out, it's totally fine, because obviously if you're going to mail this or put this in an envelope, it needs to be relatively flat anyway, and that's okay. So go ahead and apply glue to that tab, then pop that right in the center. And like I said, you can go ahead and flatten this out for the most part. You can leave a little bit of dimension. Okay, then we're going to take this tail, you can kind of train that out a little bit. We'll apply glue to the rectangle on the back. We're going to pop this right behind it, nice and centered, like so. Okay. All right, so there is our little bow. We're going to start, before we do anything else, let's go ahead and put together the little leaf elements. We're going to start with the brown. Now, if you want, you can curl this up a little bit, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And then next, we're going to take this green layer, and you can see how there's little circles here. Just going to apply glue to those circles and just layer the circles on top of each other, making sure that everything is nice and straight. I'm going to roughly like that. Okay. Then we're going to take and okay, so we're going to start off with this brown layer, and we're going to take this red layer with our berries, and that's going to go right on top of the brown. Just going to line up those circles, making sure that this is relatively even. Okay, then we can go ahead and put a little bit of glue on the circle on the berries, and then take our green layer and pop that right on top. If you want to do some embossing on this, you can. I just felt like there was so much going on with this card that I didn't want to overdo it. Just keep that nice and centered. Okay, then we're going to take this dark green layer. You can train those leaves up a little bit if you want. Put a little bit of glue on that. Pop that into place. Make sure it's nice and centered. Press that down. That looks good. And then we have some little sunflowers here, and you can take these and kind of curl the individual petals up towards you. These are very delicate, so don't pull too hard because they will rip off. And we don't want to do that. But you can curl them up a little bit. Do that for both sets. We're going to glue one to the other, and we have a little stamen that we're going to put on it. And that's going to get glued onto that final little circle there. So go ahead and throw a little dot of glue in the center of one of these. Take your other one and pop it on there, but make sure to offset the petals so they're not right on top of each other. You want to see as many petals as possible. Kind of like that. There we go. And then take this brown little stamen piece, put a little dot of glue in the center, and then pop that in the middle. And we have an instant little sunflower. And then take this black piece and put that in the middle. Leave a little bit of that brown on all sides, like a little border. Just make sure you get that centered. And there we go. And you can take and put a dot of glue in the center there. And place your sunflower right there to complete that element for the most part. Then we're going to take that and put it on top of our little bow, just so that a little bit of it is sticking out, like so. Okay, so go ahead and apply your glue there. Pop that right on there, make sure it's nice and centered, and press that down. Okay, so we have both little elements now, and we can begin putting together the card. So here's our card base, and we're going to open it up this way. You can open it up this way if you want. This little piece here is the little insert that you're going to stamp, write, journal, print to cut on, whatever you want to do to write your little message. You can just apply a little bit of glue in there, pop that in, make sure it's centered, even border all the way around. There we go. You can close that up. And then I'm going to take and this little filigree element, this one is symmetrical, so I'm going to glue this down flat. You can start by just applying glue around the perimeter, and then throw some on there as well, and just hit probably little spots where it's thicker with just a few little dots of glue. You don't need to put glue on every single inch of it. And let's get that centered so we have a nice even border all the way around. Beautiful. Compress that down, and then I'm going to flip it over and press down from the other side so I don't blemish it. My hands are kind of sweaty. It's getting towards the middle of the day here, and it's getting hot, even though it is kind of late August here. Okay, cool. So now that we have that, I feel like I'm missing a piece. Oh, there it is. Okay, now this white vanilla piece is going to go on top of this rose gold, just so that we have that little bit of rose gold poking through. And you can glue this down flat. You can also pop dot it or zot it if you want to raise this frame up a little bit. I'm not going to do that. I think there's a time and place for it. With this, I don't want to do it. I'm going to keep this. There's enough going on as far as dimension goes with all the little flowers and stuff that I don't need to raise the frame. And it's so thin that if we do put some foam squares around there, you're probably going to see them if you look at it from the side. I don't like that. So I'm just going to go flat. And I'm going to do my best here to get a nice thin amount of glue around the perimeter so that when I do put it on my foil, it doesn't start poking through and show up on the actual foil. So these two pieces are exactly the same size. So it's going to go on there perfectly so that just that little rose gold shows through. And be very careful, because as you know, when you're putting cardstock on foil, it's going to take a little bit longer for everything to dry because the foil is a little bit slippery. It's not as porous and doesn't grab the paper as quickly. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to flip it over and press down from the other side. There we go. Got our beautiful little frame there, little border. And that's going to go on like this. So we can flip this around and apply our glue. Nice and sparse. You don't need a ton. Okay. And just match that up with the edge. Make sure it's good and centered. There we go. Press that into place. That looks nice. Okay, so all that's left to do with this guy is we're going to take and glue this. Now, obviously, we want this to be We want the horizon to be level, okay? And you can see here that we have a pumpkin, okay? And the pumpkin's this is gonna get, you can foam square it or you can glue it down. We want the pumpkin to be sitting up, which means that, let's just lay this down and take a look and see how it looks. That is correct, which means we can now remove this and grab this. Now let's take a look here. The tip of the pumpkin stem is right here in the corner where this fence is. Okay, so when we put glue on this and we go to put this back on, we know exactly where to place it. It needs to go right there in the corner of the fence, just to the left of it. That's a good focal point so that you know where to put it. I'm gonna put glue on just the scallop part. And you can actually go onto this little pumpkin part and in a little bit here as well. So remember, when we place this down, we want that stem to be right there in that corner. There we go, perfect. Press that down. I'm gonna flip this over and push down from the other side so I don't get my foil wet or stained from my fingers. Okay. Now we're going to take and glue this to the front of the card, making sure that our horizon is nice and level. So we can flip this over, go easy with the glue here. This is printer paper. It's thicker. It's like, you know, high quality printer paper, but still, I think if you cake it with too much glue, it might warp it a little bit. Just get that nice and centered. Make sure the horizon is level. Nice even border on this white part of the filigree all the way around. Press it down. Okay. And then you can take and let's take a look and see how that looks. Yep, that looks good. Okay. So I'm going to take and flip this around and I'm going to put 2 foam squares on this, because I do want a little dimension on this part. You can glue it down flat. That's okay. I'm cool with that. Oops. Just be careful. There we go. And then up here, you can see this is kind of the shape of the bow. That's going to go right about here. And it's just kind of surrounding the entire image. And what we'll do is I'm going to adhere this with just a foam square. You can glue it down flat if you want. That's fine. And that's going to go just like that. There we go. Okay. So there's your beautiful card. That's ready to go. Okay, so of course we do have a coordinating envelope to go along with this. Hey Siri, how much time left on the timer?
There's a timer with about 8 minutes left.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I've pre-folded the envelope here. Okay, we're going to take these 2 side flaps, bring them in, and then we're going to apply glue starting about here, all the way down. And all the way down. And then bring up this bottom flap, press it into place. Hold that for just a moment. Okay. There we go. And we have this little piece here. This is to kind of give this a 2-toned effect. What I'm going to do is put a little bit of glue around these little flourishes and the leaf, just so it stays in place. And then on this, excuse me, I'm going to put a little bit of glue just around the perimeter. Don't go too far in. And then just pop that right on the back, nice and centered, even border all the way around. Okay, there we go. That's what that should look like. And then finally, take and put a little bit of glue on this oak leaf and pop it right in here like a little puzzle to finish it off.
Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos and please consider hitting that subscribe button. Also, don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section where you'll find over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly tutorials. I'll see you in the craft room.